I just want to say a few words, if I may. I hope I have enough gas to make this journey back. I'm just out here on the Kangamangas, and I had a moment of emotion come over me. I went to the top of the Kangamangas Pass and I said some prayers because I'm having a really hard time right now in my life, and sometimes prayer is the only thing I know how to do when I'm really going through a hard time. And if you're listening to this, I have really been struggling this year a lot since I moved up here to the mountains. I left everything I knew back on the seacoast. I was living in Hampton Beach. It's a party town, it's fun, but at a certain age, you just grow past that. You start to realize, you know what am I doing with my life? You start to see the other people out there, and they're just, you don't want to end up like a lost soul just walking up and down the beach. You see that a lot down there, And I was trying to figure out, okay, where am I supposed to go? And for me, this was always a special place to me. It's the home of my ancestors, And some people, even in my own family, they don't understand why I make such a big deal out of being Native American. Why is it such a big deal? Yeah, some of our ancestors were Native American. Well, it is a big deal because when you grow older and you realize what's happened to our people, and you realize the life choices of your European ancestors versus what they did to your indigenous ancestors, your Native American ancestors, you have a real crushing moment in your identity as a person who's, let's say that you're half Native American and half white, half European. You come from two different cultures, two different histories, and let's face it, I have English ancestry, but I'm not in England. I have a little bit of Native American ancestry from this place, but I'm in the land of my Native American ancestors. I'm not in England. I'm not in Germany. I'm not in all these European countries that my European forefathers crossed the ocean. They crossed the ocean. They left Europe and came here hundreds of years ago to somebody else's land. This land belonged to the Wabanaki people. The people of the Dawn Land. That's what it translates to. These mountains, these rivers, these trees, these lakes. It was inhabited by millions of people. And I don't want to recite history about what happened to them, but what I'm going to say in a few moments is very emotional to me. Here we are, we're passing by this place, Brook Trail. I have a lot of emotions about what happened to the people here. Because the fact that I have to drive 6 hours away to a 1 mile by 1 mile reservation to visit my Passamaquoddy family, and I have to accept that our relatives, that their cousins, the Pemigewasset and the Pennacook and all of Passaconaway's people, there's no reservation for them here. There's nothing for them here. There's just there. Well, I mean, there's the mountains. There's the land itself. Yes, it's still here. You can't ever take that away. But what I'm trying to say is every other group of people, if you're Thai, you have Thailand, right? If you're Chinese, you have China. If you're English, you have England. If you're African, you have Africa. You guys never got your country stolen from you, where you were literally forced to pack up all of your stuff and leave your home that your ancestors lived on for thousands of years. Imagine a bunch of people coming up to you. You wake up in the morning and you get a bunch of guns pointed at you and you're told, get up and start moving, because if you don't, we're going to shoot you. And if you don't believe us, just look at all your dead villages south of us, because we've already killed all your relatives. It's so evil what was done here. And so I have a real feeling of emotion when I realize that these people died for no reason other than that people from Europe who left their country, they left Germany, they left England, they left France, they left whatever country they came from, Ireland, they left their home country, they came here and stole somebody else's land. They literally stole it with violence and whatever other tactics. I don't want to recite history, but our land was literally taken from us in the sense that we either had to leave where we were or be killed. That was our option. We either head east to join with the Passamaquoddy, the Maliseet, or the Micmac, or we die. And many people here chose to fight and die rather than leave their homeland. And I came here a year ago, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come up here, I'm going to try to get my business up and rolling like I did before. I mean, I thought, hey, if I could make it down southern New Hampshire, I can make it up here. That's fine, right? I'll just have to establish new clientele and just hit the ground running, right? That's what I thought. Well, my intention was to make a bunch of money and buy some land. As much land as I could afford, and set up a community center. It was going to be the Wabanaki Center, where basically I was going to buy like a decent piece of land, put a barn on it, start a small farm, maybe put up like a craft store, and invite my Wabanaki relatives to come and stay here. And if they want to have like sell baskets or arts and crafts or maple syrup or whatever they want to do to try to just establish a little self-sufficient income. Kind of like what the Amish do, just be a self-sustaining, independent community. I thought that I could do something like that. But since I've been here, I've met a few people, some Penobscots, some Micmacs, a couple Mohawks running around here. There's a few other indigenous people, but everybody's so busy working to survive just like everybody else. Whether you're African, European, Native American, Asian, every one of us are working to make money so we could pay to be alive. And that's the system that has existed here for the past few hundred years. And it wasn't like that. I mean, if you went and you really look at how people lived here along these rivers and these lakes and in these mountains, they didn't have to work for some corporation to afford to be able to stay alive. They literally lived in balance with nature they helped each other. They lived like a giant family, pretty much. That everybody in the family contributed to each other's survival, and they survived in a tribal way. I really do respect that way of life. If I could go back in time and I had a choice, either stay in the indigenous lifestyle and live with my tribe, or join the Europeans, I would choose to live with my tribe. In my heart, if you gave me that choice, if you brought me back in time 500 years ago, either stay and live with your tribe or join the white people, I would stay and live with my tribe. Because to me, in my heart, that is the quality of life that I want. And that I have a lot of emotions going on today, and I just want to make this video to vent that. And I'm going through a lot. And one thing that I can always remember is somehow in my life I've always been able to make something from nothing. I've had times in my life when I've been rich and I've been poor, and it's humbling to lose everything and be poor again, right? So you go through those ebbs and flows of prosperity and wealth, and then you make a bad business decision, or things break down, something happens, some type of crisis, and you end up losing a bunch of money. Well, you were born without money, right? You were born, you didn't have any money, you had to depend on your mother to raise you and bring you up strong so that you could, learn how to work your way through the world. So, it's not the end of the world when you make a bad financial decision and you run out of money. It just means that you have to pick yourself up and ask yourself, what do you really want? Were you even happy when you had money? Because I wasn't. Just because I had a lot of money in my pocket or a nice car and business was doing good doesn't mean that I was happy. I think actually I was really stressed out when business was good because I had no life. I was working 7 days a week, all day and all night. That wasn't happy for me. This year that I've been up here in the mountains, I've spent more time on this river with my dogs than I have working. And I've learned more about myself in this year, taking that time to spend on the river, spend in the woods, spend in the mountains, than I ever did really in any other point in my life. It's really done a lot for me mentally. I lost my mother a few years ago, and I went through a really bad depression. And I needed this time up here in the mountains to try to figure out who I am. One of my songs I wrote, it's called Sadness Smeared Unbroken. And the main chorus of the song is, why do we have to be so blind to leave the last lessons behind? Reborn to use the knowledge gained, though now we're known by different names. Angelic words unspoken, and sadness mirrored unbroken. Well, the mirror of sadness, what is that? I think everybody at some point in their life looks in the mirror and they see themselves unhappy. They see themselves sad. And God gave us language, right? And maybe I was being poetic saying angelic words unspoken, but we have the ability to think about who we want to be. And if we think, therefore we are, right? So by thinking of how you can make yourself happy, you can break that mirror of sadness. But if you don't speak those words and speak yourself into a better existence, then that mirror of sadness remains unbroken. And I think that's what I meant when I wrote that song, even though I didn't realize it at the time. Sometimes I just scribble down the lyrics. I guess that's like the empath or like the intuitive part of my life, that like I just hear that little voice or that little calling in the back of my mind, and the words just kind of come together, and then I don't realize what I've written until years later, and then I break it down and well, what did I really mean by that, you know? But anyway, I just wanted to make this video just because I didn't want the thoughts to just fade away. I thought maybe somebody might be feeling the same way I feel, and I thought I'd give this a shot. So, hope all is well, and God bless you. Have a good day.